2 years into their marriage, she tried to send a birthday card to his parents. The address he'd given her had never had anyone with his family name living there. When she looked deeper, she realized she'd never met a single person from his life before they met. Not one. Daniel and Kara met at a conference. He was charming, focused, seemed to have his life together. He talked about his family warmly, but explained early on that they were scattered and not particularly close-knit, which seemed normal enough. Over 2 years of dating and one of marriage, she'd video called with someone he said was his mother twice. She'd accepted that was the extent of it. The birthday card was the first pull. The address didn't match anyone with his surname in the county records. She checked 3 different databases. Nothing. She went back to the 2 video calls with his mother and realized she'd never seen her in a context that confirmed the location. Just a room, a woman, a phone propped up. She couldn't rule out that she'd been staged. She started mapping what she actually knew. She knew his current employer, verifiable, real. She knew his apartment before they moved in together, real. She knew the college he claimed to have attended. When she called the alumni office with his name and graduation year, there was no record. When she tried a variation of his last name with a hyphen that his alleged mother had used once in an email, she found a match. Different first name, different state, same face in the yearbook. His name before some point in his mid-20s had been different. He'd had it legally changed, which is legal, obviously, and people do it for many reasons. But he'd never mentioned it. And when she found his pre-change identity, she found a public record she hadn't been expecting. A restraining order, filed against him by a woman in another state. 7 years ago, she didn't confront him that night. She hired a private investigator, not because she thought she was in immediate danger, but because she wanted to understand the full picture before she made any move. The investigator came back in 10 days with a report that was 42 pages long. The summary: Daniel had legally changed his name following the restraining order. He had a prior marriage, legally ended, no children. He had a pattern across multiple states of beginning serious relationships, moving quickly toward financial entanglement, and then either leaving or being left under circumstances that benefited him financially. Her lawyer, reviewing the report, identified 2 specific areas where money had moved in their marriage in ways that, on paper, were structured to benefit Daniel in the event of a separation. She consulted a divorce attorney before she confronted him. She had a plan in place before he knew she knew anything. When she did confront him, he admitted to the name change and the prior marriage, denied the financial manipulation, and said everything else was a misunderstanding. The divorce was finalized 8 months later. She recovered the assets that had been quietly moved. He moved to a different state. The PI's report was shared with his previous wife. She says the hardest part was not the legal process, but the revisiting, going back through 3 years of relationship and identifying all the places where she'd been managed rather than loved. The warmth had been real, she thinks, but had been deployed strategically. She says she's a better reader of people now. She says that like it's a good thing. Some days it is. At what point would you have started asking questions? Or would you have trusted until you had proof?